Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to Ummah Radio. You are listening to the Arabic class with myself, Abu Musab. We are currently still in the Medina Arabic course, Book 1. We had started in last week, lesson number 5. This lesson dealt with what is known in Arabic as the Mudhaaf and Mudhaaf Ilayhi. In English, we term it the possessor and the possessor and the possessed thing. For example, Kitabu Muhammadin, Muhammad's book. So this is what we had basically done in last week. The lesson continues on still in this week, and we will be continuing on till the ending of this lesson. There's not much new at this point in time. There's only actually basically one new thing that we will be learning in this lesson here as part of lesson number 5. Other than that, it's just more exercises on the same Mudhaaf and Mudhaaf Ilayhi. So that is all basically what we will be doing tonight, inshallah. And next time we can start again with the next lesson. So last time we had stopped on page number 30. We had ended exercise number 5. So this week we will continue on from exercise number 6. So then, okay, for those of you who don't know, if you have any questions about the lessons, about the classes, and you want to send in your questions, you can send it via Skype, the Skype name being Ummah Radio. And additionally, these exercises that we do here, although like I always say, it's not obligatory upon you to do the exercises, but if you do the exercises, you are the one who will benefit at the end of the day, because if you are able to solve these exercises, then it shows that you are able to understand the lesson and keep up basically with what is being taught. So if you do decide to do the lessons, then on Ummah Forum, in the Ummah Radio section, there is a thread called, or rather it's called homework or something of the sort. I can't remember the name of the thread, but in any case, it's there in the Ummah Radio section, and you can then, after writing out your homework of these exercises, you can scan it in, take a picture of it, whatever the case may be, and you put it in that thread, and inshallah it will be checked out and any errors will be rectified, inshallah. Okay, so other than that, we can start now again where we had stopped off, page number 30, in the middle of the page from exercise number 6. So we start, Bismillahi walhamdulillahi wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillahi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. Exercise number 6, he says, صحح التركيب التالية. If you look here, he says, صحح التركيبات التالية. But when you heard me read it out, I said, صحح الترتيب. I gave, in the book, you can see a jazm, a sakin on the second ha, but when I read it, I put a kasra instead of a sakin. So it wasn't a mistake from my side that I read it as sahihi instead of sahih, but that law will come in due time, inshallah. So it will be explained over there. For now, you can just keep it in your mind that it wasn't a, as you can say, error in reading, or nor is it an error in the book. But the book is correct and the way I said it is correct, but you will understand it when we come to the lesson itself. Here now he's not busy teaching you that law, so therefore I will leave it until we come a bit closer to that lesson, inshallah. Okay, so we exercise number 6, when he says صحح التركيبات التالية, or rather taliyati, as I always say to pronounce the last ending letter of every word, what he means is correct the following sentences. What he's doing here, he's giving you 6 sentences and there is a mistake in each sentence. So to make certain that you understand the lesson, he wants you to be able to solve the errors. You must be able to point out where the mistake is and what it should be with that mistake removed. So that is why I always say that although I don't make it obligatory for everyone listening in to do the exercises. But if you do the exercises and you're able to solve it, it means you understood the lesson and you can move further. Otherwise, if you just ignore the exercises every week, week after week, then by the time we finish the book, you may only have memorized and understood 50% of the book. Then you will struggle by the time we get to book number 2. So take out the time, do the exercises, and you'll see the benefit for your own self, inshallah, as we move along. So in any case, exercise number 6, he's got some sentences which are wrong, and he wants you to correct it. He says, number 1, al-qalamu talibi. So here, we know this lesson that we were doing now is known as the Mudhaaf and the Mudhaaf Ilayhi, the possessor and the possessed. And what we had learned is that the Mudhaaf, the possessor, or rather the possessed thing, that word will normally have a dhamma on the end, while the possessor, the Mudhaaf Ilayhi, that one will have a kasra on the end. So here he says al-kalamu talibi. So at-talibi, we can see is the Mudhaaf Ilayhi, it has a kasra on the end. So what is the error in this sentence over here? The error in this sentence is the word al-qalamu having an alif and lam. A mudaf, the possessed item, it's what is known as ma'rifah. It's already a definite noun, but because of it being in this in a sentence a mudaf ilayh. Therefore, alif and lam cannot come onto it at the same time. So therefore, what it should be is qalamu talibi and not al-qalamu talibi. This alif and lam is wrong. You do not get the mudaf and mudaf ilayh where the mudaf has alif and lam on it. So this is the mistake. In the first sentence, it's supposed to be qalamu talibi instead of al-qalamu talibi. Then the second one, he says babu sayyaratu. This one should be quite simple because I just explained the law now, that the mudaf ilayh has a kasra on the end. And here, the mudaf ilayh he writes as as-sayyaratu. He puts a dhamma on the end. So, if you understood the lesson, like I say, everything that is taught, he immediately puts it into practice so that nothing passes you by. So here, if you understood that the mudaf ilayh gets a kasra, you would notice immediately that as-sayyaratu may not have a dhamma, it's supposed to have a kasra. So it should be babu sayyarati, the door, or the car's door. Okay, let me translate the first one because I noticed I didn't translate it. Qalamu talibi, the student's pen. So number 2 here, babu sayyarati, is the car's door. Then he says bintu hamidun. Same thing here. It's like the previous one we just did now, babu sayyaratu. In the same manner, bintu, this is what is known as the mudaf, and hamid, he is the mudaf ilayh. If we translate the sentence, the translating of the sentence will help you to understand what exactly is the wording, the words in the sentence. So bintu hamidin, as it's supposed to be, when we translate it, we would say Hamid's daughter. So from the English translation, you can tell that this is a mudaf and mudaf ilayh sentence. The daughter, she is the possession of Hamid. He is the possessor. So, bintu Hamidin, Hamid's daughter. So, Hamidun, the dhammatain, this is the mistake over here. It should be a kasratain as bintu Hamidin. Now, he moves on to number 4. He says, ar-rasulullahi. Now, here again, like I just mentioned with example number 1, that the mudaf cannot have alif and lam on it. So here we can see that the mistake is ar-rasulullahi. It should actually be rasulullahi. That alif and lam should not be on the word rasul. So the mistake here is like the first one. It's just supposed to be rasulullahi, meaning the messenger of Allah. Number 5, he says ismul walada. Now, again, as was mentioned previously, the mudaf ilayh gets a kasra, not a fatha, no a dhamma. So, in example number 2, he had said babu sayyaratu, putting a dhamma there, and that was that one's mistake. Now he puts it ismul walada. he puts a fatha instead, when in reality it's supposed to have a kasra, being ismul waladi, the boy's name. So therefore the mistake in this sentence is the dal, or rather I should say the mudhaf ilayhi, having a fatha on the end instead of a kasra. And lastly, he says ibnun al-mudarrisi. It's here again, it's also part of as you can say the mudhaf and mudhaf ilayhi rules, is that the mudhaf cannot have alif and lam, nor does it get tanween. So when he said al-qalamu talibi, he put alif and lam on it, and that was why it was a mistake. And now he says ibnun al-mudarrisi, he puts the tanween, the dhammatain on the ending, and this is also wrong, because it cannot get tanween, nor can it get alif and lam. So therefore it should be ibnul mudarrisi, not ibnun al-mudarrisi, but rather ibnul mudarrisi, meaning the teacher's son. Now he moves on to exercise number 7. He says Muhammadun ya Muhammadu. Now here is the only new lesson that we learn in this class. Like I mentioned, there's only one thing basically new to learn in this class, and it is this point over here. He says Muhammadun, then he puts next to it ya Muhammadu, Ustadun ya Ustadu, Khalidun ya Khalidu, Waladun ya Waladu. Ya is what is termed as a harfi nida. It's when you call out to somebody. So translated, Muhammad, obviously being a person's name, then you say ya Muhammad, O Muhammad. Ustad, teacher, ya Ustadu, O teacher. And Khalid, obviously ya Khalid, O Khalid. And ya Waladu, meaning O boy. But now what is important over here is he's teaching you the usage of this ya. When you see this word ya, like ya Muhammadu, ya Khalidu, ya Ustadu, ya Waladu, what it does is that the word which comes after the ya, it cannot get tanween. So it will not be ya Muhammadi, but rather ya Muhammadu, ya Khalidu. So it won't be ya Muhammadun, but rather ya Muhammadu. Not ya Khalidun, but rather ya Khalidu. So this is what he's teaching you in this exercise over here, this usage of this word ya. Then he continues on and he says اقرأ واكتب مع ضبط أواخر الكلمات. Read and write the following sentences, keeping in mind and writing down the endings of the letters. Like I say, the endings of these letters are very important for the simple reason that when you put the proper endings on the words, then the listener will be able to understand that no, you do understand what is going on here. That is why you put the correct ending. Otherwise, if you put a tanween where there's not supposed to be a tanween, or you put a dhamma instead of a kasra, then a person can say you're not understanding the lesson properly. And it is again another reason why I say that homework is so important. In any case, so now when you do write it down, we just learned the usage of this word ya, that the word which follows it does not get tanween. So we know that we won't be saying ya aliyun over here, but rather we will be saying ya aliyu with a single dhamma, meaning O Ali. Then he says ya Abbasu, O Abbas. Shaykhun, this is a freestanding noun, indefinite noun. So shaykhun, a sheikh, an old man, if you want to translate it that way. Or if you use sheikh meaning scholar, then it would mean a scholar. Then he says ya sheikhu. Ya, obviously with the ya addition to it, it cannot get tanween, so therefore it is ya sheikhu and not ya sheikhun. And ya sheikhu obviously meaning O sheikh. And then he says ya rajulu, meaning O man. Then he says Yasirun. Now a masculine name freestanding like this, in its default form, it gets the dhammatain on the end. So Yasirun. There's no ya or anything else to change its kasra or to change its haraka from dhammatain to anything else. Therefore it remains as Yasirun. Then he says Ya Ammaru, O Ammar. Then he says Dukturun. Duktur is how we call in English as professor. A doctor so and so, he's got his PhD and things like this. This is what is Duktur. And then Ya Dukturu, Professor. So Dukturun when it's freestanding noun, and Ya Dukturu when the Ya is added to it as well. That's the end of exercise number 7 and the end of page number 30. Moving on to page 31, exercise number 8, he says, اقرأ المثال الآتي ثم كون أسئلة مثله مشيرا إلى الصور التالية. He said, read the following sentences, then make questions like it, pointing and indicating towards the following pictures. He said, he gives you the first one. He shows a picture of a book and he says, Kitabu man hadha? Whose book is this? So now what you must do, if you look at the next thing, he then shows a picture of a pen, a shirt, a house, and a bed. So now he wants you to write the sentences from your side. We had done all the words required, so now he wants you to fulfill what you had learned and put it into practice. So we start off. He puts a picture of a pen here, so you must make a question based on this pen being here. So what we say is قلم من هذا? Whose pen is this? Or who does this pen belong to? Like this same words, Kitabu man hadha, this man hadha will remain here, but he wants you to change and put the rest of the wordings and things in here. Then he says, Qamisu man hadha? Whose shirt is this? Qamisu man hadha? Whose shirt is this? The shirt being nearby. So this is one way you can say it. It's not necessary that you have to stick to the words that were used here. You can put in your own words as well. So Qamisu man hadha? Whose shirt is this? And then with the house being right next to it, you can either say wa baytu man hadha, and whose house is this? So Qamisu man hadha wa baytu man hadha? Whose shirt is this and whose house is this? Alternatively, you could say Qamisu man hadha? Whose shirt is this? Wa baytu man dhalika? So we did do the usage of the word dhalika previously to show masculine items and men who are far away. So hadha is close by and dhalika is far away. So therefore, if you were putting the shirt as being something nearby and the house as something far away, then we would say Qamisu man hadha wa baytu man dhalika. If you want to take it that way. If you want to keep it simple, then you can say Qamisu man hadha wa baytu man hadha, or whichever sentence you prefer to put it in. So in any case, we'll go with Qamisu man hadha? Whose shirt is this? Wa baytu man hadha? And whose house is this? And then lastly, he shows a picture of a bed. So we say, Sariru man hadha? Whose bed is this? Now moving on, exercise number 9. He says, Ismun. Ismul waladi Muhammadun wasmul binti Zainabu. Here he puts two, or rather, how do I say it? 4 different laws that we had learned into play here. Ismul waladi. He starts out with Mudhaaf and Mudhaaf Ilayhi, because you can see quite clearly Ismul waladi. Waladi having the kasra, showing that it is the Mudhaaf Ilayhi. Then he says Muhammadun, and this is a pure Arabic masculine name, so it has tanween on it, so we know it is Muhammadun. Then he says Wasmul binti. You can see this alif. In this book, they put the small little mark on top of the alif to show that this is what is known as the Hamzatul Wasl, meaning you join over it and it's as though the alif doesn't exist there whatsoever. So you don't say Wa Ismul binti, but rather you say Wasmul binti. It's precisely as though the alif doesn't exist at all over there. So Wasmul binti, and the daughters and the girls, okay, Ismul waladi Muhammadun, the boy's name is Muhammad, Wasmul binti Zainabu, and the girl's name is Zainab. So those were 3 laws, and the last final law is Wasmul binti Zainabu. Zainabu, because a female name never gets tanween, so you won't be Zainabun or Zainabin or anything else of the sort, but rather it will be Zainabu. So those are just, like I always say, when he teaches you something, he immediately puts it into practice. So you had done everything of these things, so he puts it immediately into a practice over here. Then he says, Ismul Mudarrisi Hamidun. Masmul Mudiri. The teacher's name is Hamid. What is the principal's name? Again, it's Ma Ismul Mudiri, but because it's Hamzatul Wasl, you join right over it and you say Masmul Mudiri. What is the principal's name? Then he says, uses the word Ibnun meaning a son, and he says Ibnu Khalidin fil madrasati wa Ibnu Hamidin fil jami'ati. Khalid's son is in the school and Hamid's son is in the university. Again, Ibnu Khalidin, same Mudhaaf Ilayhi, fil madrasati. This is the law of what we term as the harufi jar, the prepositions, because of fi, and the word which follows fi gets a kasra, therefore it is fil madrasati. And then wabnu, again the hamzatul wasl, you join right over wabnu hamidin, which is also mudaf ilayhi, therefore it is wabnu hamidin. And then fil jami'ati, again another harfi jar, fil jami'ati, in the university. Then he says ibnul mudarrisi fil fasli أين ابن المدير. The teacher's son is in the classroom. Al-Fasl means the classroom. أين ابن المدير. Where is the principal's son? Again, Hamzatul Wasl on the word Ibnu. So, أين ابن المدير. What is showing here basically is that this alif in the word ism and the alif in the word ibn, these are Hamzatul Wasl. So therefore, you are able to join over it like wasmul binti, masmul mudiri, aynabnul mudiri, and so on and so forth. This is what he is teaching you in this piece of the lesson. That's the end of page 31. Moving on to page 32, he says اقرأ ما يلي مراعيا قواعد نطق همزة الوصل. He says, read the following while keeping in mind the principles with regards to pronouncing and reading the Hamzatul Wasl. Hamzatul Wasl, I just explained to you now. It is like this, Masmul Mudiri, joining over as though the Hamza, the Alif, doesn't exist whatsoever. So he gives you 6 sentences over here. Number 1, Ibn Muhammadin fil Iraqi wa Ibn Hamidin fil Hindi. Muhammad's son is in Iraq and Hamid's son is in India. So here, he's using the term as wabnu hamidin. If you look here, he took off these signs of it being hamzatul wasl in this exercise here, so that you, from your own self, must be able to tell that this is a hamzatul wasl, so it should be wabnu hamidin, and not come sit down and not know that this is a hamzatul wasl and not a hamzatul fasl. So in any case, moving on to number 2, he says, kharaja ibnu tabibi min al-bayti. The doctor's son exited or left from the house, or rather we translate it better as the doctor's son exited from the house. So here it is kharaja ibnu tabibi, but it being hamzatul wasl, we join over and we say kharaja ibnu tabibi. It's as though the alif doesn't exist and we're joining the jim directly with the ba. So خرج ابن الطبيب من البيت. The doctor's son exited from the house. Number 3, ذهب ابن التاجر إلى السوق. That the businessman's son went to the marketplace. Here again it is ibn التاجر, so ذهب ابن, the alif as though it don't exist, not ذهب ابن التاجر, but rather ذهب ابن التاجر. The student, the shopkeeper, businessman's son went to the marketplace. Number 4, اسم المهندس فيصل واسم الطبيب مسعود. The engineer's name is Faisal. Al-Muhandis means the engineer. So the engineer's name is Faisal. واسم الطبيب مسعود, and the name of the doctor is Mas'ud. Then he says, number 5, Masmur Rajuli. What is the man's name? Number 6, he say, Ibnu man anta? Ana ibnul waziri. Whose son are you? The reply given is, I am the son of the minister. So basically that is what we had been learning now in the previous few pages. And now he puts the new words of the lesson into this following box, and he says Al-Kalimatul Jadidatu, the new words. Number 1, Al-Rasulu, the messenger. Al-Ka'batu, the Kaaba. Al-Islamu, or rather Al-Ismu, the name. Al-Ibnu, the son. Al-Ammu, the paternal uncle. Al-Khalu, the maternal uncle. Al-Haqibatu, the suitcase. Al-Sayyaratu, the car. Al-Shari'u, engineer. And Al-Shari'u, meaning the... Okay, let me go back here. Al-Haqibatu, the suitcase. Al-Sayyaratu, the car. Al-Shari'u, the street. Mughlaqun, meaning locked. Tahtah, meaning under. Hunaka, meaning there. And Al-Muhandisu, which means the engineer. Now, the words for here and there in Arabic are very similar. Huna means here. Hunaka means there. Just that additional kaf on the end changes it from here to there. And then lastly, Al-Muhandisu, meaning the engineer. Then lastly, he gives another box over here and he says Sayyaratul Mudarrisi, the teacher's car. Then he puts the arrows underneath and he says Sayyaratu is what is known as the Mudhaaf, and Al-Mudarrisi is what a Mudhaaf Ilayhi is. So it's quite clear and straightforward what this lesson was all about. Just this Mudhaaf and Mudhaaf Ilayhi. So there's nothing really new that is to be done on this lesson in particular. So this is the end of page 32, and it is the end of lesson number 6. And inshallah we will be ending on this point here and continuing next time again year onwards from lesson number 6. So then inshallah on that point we will end and we say وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد سبحان الله وبحمده سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.